Before I begin today's story, if you haven't already done so, go back and listen to the first Big Rock story because this is a continuation of that story. Um, and hopefully, it makes you think about what the big rocks are in your life. So, the Big Rock story became a big part of my life. I used to love to tell it to anyone and everyone who would listen. It started at camp, and campers would love it. So I decided to bring it to the public. And one day I went to an open mic night, not a night, but an afternoon at a local library. um, I told my story. There was only about like a handful of people there, mostly older folks, who was there to listen to stories. Uh, but I told my story and I left. I went outside and I had lunch. I had a picnic out on the front lawn of the library. This older couple came up to me while I was eating and asked if they could sit next to me. And I said, of course. They were about maybe in their mid 60s, husband and wife. And they complimented me on my story and said they loved it. And they said they've heard many versions of it. And they all were very impactful. But then they asked me to do something for them, which ended up being the second most important lesson I've learned. So anyway, the man, the husband, asked me to stand up, and he handed me a cup of water, and he asked me to turn around and toss the water behind my back, which I did. I'm not too sure what he was planning on doing, but respect your elders. I'm sure he had some reason for me to do it. So I tossed the water behind my back. He then said, turn around and pick the water back up. And I looked at him and was like, that's virtually impossible. There's no way I could get every single drop of water back into this cup. Then the wife said, think about that after this next task. She handed me a cup of sand, asked me to toss it behind my back, which I did. And you guessed it, she asked, turn around, pick the sand back up. Well, I could pick a few grains of sand here and there that had made piles in the grass, but nowhere close to what was in the cup. Next thing, husband handed me a cup of pebbles, stones, and asked me to toss it behind my back. So I tossed it behind my back, turned around, and I could pick up maybe half of them. They were scattered, but I couldn't find all of them because they blended into the grass. So I got about half the cup full. Finally, they handed me 3 big rocks, asked me to toss it behind my back. Now, they weren't too heavy, so, they were cantaloupe size, and they asked me to pick them back up. I turned around and I easily saw them, so I could pick those big rocks back. Then the husband and wife team told me the secret to their life, the secret to their love. And it still blows my mind today, this statement. They said no matter how many times you turn your back to your big rocks, all you have to do is turn around and they'll be there. So obviously, this husband and wife were each other's big rocks. And when one was having trouble, when one was having frustrations or mad, and thought he deserted his big rocks, they were always there. All you had to do was turn around. All the other little things, the pebbles, the sand, the water, they're going to disappear, right, for the most part. But your big rocks, the ones that are important in your life, will always be there when you need them. All you got to do is turn around. And you can be that big rock for somebody. Every single one of you. I do not care what age you are, what color you are, what religion, what gender you are. You have the potential to be great. You have the potential to be impactful. You have the ability to be a big rock and inspire someone. You are not nobody. You matter to somebody. And I'm not just talking about your family. You matter to someone outside your family. Trust me. Okay? When you think you're alone, when you think you have no one, there is. You just have to turn around and pick them back up because they'll always be there for you. So listen to my words. I can't stress enough how impactful each and every one of you are. Right? I'm more targeting my former campers and my former students because you are the next generation to bring this message. As always, be kind, be gentle, provide a safe, secure environment for everyone. No one wants to be left behind. No one wants to feel like they've been abandoned. Right? You have the ability to change all that. So again, whether you're 3 years old all the way up to 83, you have the potential to be someone great. So please think about that and put it into action. As always, my love to you all day, every day, for life.